Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pitch Perfect podcast. We are a flesh and blood podcast that aims to educate, empower, and support the female community in flesh and blood. We are your hosts. I am Elaine, and with me, as always, we have Melody. Say hi.
Older.
And today we have a very special guest joining the pod today, a man who needs no introduction, but I will give him one because that's my job. Joining us today is the man behind it all, game creator and CEO of Legend Story Studios, James White. How are you doing today, James? We're very excited to have you with us.
Thank you. Kia ora. Himima in the house. So for those who
Hemima.
don't know, Himima. So that has actually been my like long time, nickname with a big group of my friends. So for our international viewers, Himima is James White in Māori, and kia ora is hello.
Yes. Awesome. So it's lunchtime over there, so we may get some guests popping their heads in.
Indeed, we are, flavor of the month. You can see Azalea proudly on display behind me today. But that did mean that I need to set up our recording literally in the corridor that connects our main working space with our cafeteria area. So you might get some walk bys popping into the stream.
Awesome. Well, let's kick it off. So we're going to start with business. Now, we've heard many stories, we've read plenty of articles around the genesis and the journey of Flesh and Blood. You launched Fab during a lockdown. And during COVID, you've committed everything short of the shirt off your back, James, to invest into the game. And of course, then we had 2 years of naysayers basically saying that the game was a sham. So the Fab journey, it's been fraught with, some challenges, yet also a lot of triumphs. And so we're curious whether there are any parts of the story that you feel don't get enough attention that you might like to share with us.
um, Look, it's just been a long journey, right? And I mean, I speak about it on quite a few interviews I've done over the years, but the journey for myself and my co-founders really started in 2012. So
Mm.
again, people have heard this, 7 years in development, and it was a slog. So for people out in the fans around the world, it's like, yeah, Flesh and Blood is this new game. It's 3.5 years old. For me, it's like already a decade in the books, right? So it's just been a long journey with just relentless uh, effort put in, day out for myself and my co-founders, and in more recent times, a really incredible team of people at Legend Story Studios. Um, and I think maybe if there's one thing that doesn't get maybe enough credit or emphasis or spotlight is like Legend Story Studios is a team of about 40 people spread across the world. And it's grown to the scale where this is so much bigger than one man or the founders of the company. We have some amazing people on the team working incredibly hard and bringing a really diverse range of skills to create the product and the experiences that people are enjoying. And I think maybe if there's one thing, it's that Flesh and Blood and Legend Story Studios is a massive team effort.
Yes. Thank you. Spotlighting everybody, James.
I think that definitely shows, though, just in the work that you guys do and how you orchestrate even just communication with us players. This next question actually comes from Paul, our analog nerd on Twitter. He says, "What are some things that surprised you about starting your own company, not just specific to the TCG world, but in general?"
Yeah, so my advice would be like you need to look at business as something that it doesn't just like turn on and now you have like a business. It's like it's just learning, right? It's just with anything in life, it just you learn and you go through phases, your rookie phase or whatever, like your level one, and you just like progress and you learn more. Just always just have to have this relentless hunger to be like learning. And like my business journey, my career started back when I was a teenager, right? When I was like 18 years old, I essentially started an events company running magic events at public venues down in Wellington. There wasn't even a local game store in Wellington at that time. So it was like literally I'd hire out Turnbull House opposite the Beehive every fortnight and run a magic event down there. And I did that for a number of years, and then we became the national TO for Magic and rolled out Magic across New Zealand. And when I moved to Auckland, I sort of picked it up in Auckland. And then yeah, that like flowed into doing other things. Like we had Game Player, which was a big online community back before the days of social media and Facebook and all of that stuff, when people use message boards, and like all of these things were like actual businesses, like registered incorporated companies, but like they're really, small scale stuff. But even though it's small scale, you just learn. Like, you learn how to do accounts, you learn how to hire your first staff, you learn how to do payroll, you learn how to do GST, which is like tax compliance. You learn how to, do event contracts and negotiate and work with suppliers and logistics, and like it's a whole series of like baby steps that like build into. It's like an on ramp to just like learning more and getting experience and getting confidence and building a network of people that you like working with and you can trust. And little things eventually, if you just keep taking one step every day, like can lead to become bigger things, and eventually like much bigger things. Um so I think I can't really just say that there's one thing that surprises me about running my own business. It's like, if anything, it's just there's something like new to learn and to navigate all the time, like nearly on a daily basis. If it's just even now, things happen that we haven't dealt with before, right? And you have to you have to work it out. Like, business is really a series of problem solving
Mm.
activities more than anything. As well as like there's some fundamentals that you just really need to have a solid grasp on, like um just like the financial engine of what your business is, and financial reporting and compliance and all of that sort of stuff. But outside of that, like, it's really just a series of problem solving.
So, kind of piggybacking off of that, this comes from Melody. She asks candidates this in interviews herself, but um, is there any advice that you would give to that young James starting a new business, looking back now with everything that you know?
Um, just like, try and surround yourself with great people, like with good people, with people that have good intentions, that are aligned with where you're heading in life. And it can be like, you look back in hindsight, and like at the time throughout your journey, you'll be like, yeah, yeah, maybe I actually thought that this person was aligned, or this person, had my back or whatever. And then things sometimes happen, and it doesn't play out how you hoped or wished. But I think, just more than anything, like, it's the people that are involved in anything, and whether it's business or any kind of like endeavor, you got to have great people around you. People that you can trust, people that work hard, people that are committed, people that are talented. And yeah, maybe more than anything, people that like believe in the vision and want to head in the same direction as yourself, and believe in the cause and the mission. So um, just be really, really mindful of who you surround yourself with, who you, yeah, bring on the uh, welcome into the waka.
Well,
Bring
yeah,
on
I was
bring onto
thinking
the
that
bus on that journey. It's really important. Yep.
you are who you surround yourself with. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that kind of you've kind of talked about something that we're going to move into, which is about growth. So we're in an age right now where we've got faceless, deaf corporations. And we've got to say that we admire LSS values, which are in opposition to these kinds of norms. So we trust that LSS listens to our feedback, that you guys have the courage to front up if anything goes awry. You, James White, CEO and founder of Fab, are accessible. Hello, you're right here. You're visible, and you are connected to the people. And these are the kinds of things that endear LSS to the players, to us, and we want to explore these with you. Um, like the popularity of flesh and blood is going to continue to grow. It's going to grow and grow and grow. And in business, you can probably agree, like with growth, the byproduct of that tends to be bureaucracy, pleasing stakeholders, if you go public, a disconnect to the original grassroots values of an organization. What are your thoughts around retaining that connection to the people? And is this important to you?
Yeah, it's critical to me. Absolutely. And uh, first of all, we're a privately owned company, so the founders essentially own the majority of the company. So like, our vision is what reigns supreme, and our values are what drives us forward. And we've always been unwavering in what our mission is. Um, I mean, just as an example, just literally this morning we had our monthly Ask Me Anything, which is kind of like a town square session where we get everybody in the company together, including all of our international team. They all dial in, and it's like 1 hour, and we celebrate achievements from the previous month and have a look forward at what is coming over the next 60 days. And then, literally the floor opens for our team to ask me anything. And it's things like this, just having that openness and the opportunity to talk to what our values are, what is important, why we are doing things. The why is really critical. It's not just we are doing things and how we're going to do them, but why are we doing things and making certain decisions, and also just giving the team an opportunity to actually call BS out, like just call things out. If there's like something going on that they actually doesn't sit right with them, like actually having a platform for people to table that. And like sometimes they bring things up, and just when there's an explanation of the why behind it, it actually gives it more context and makes sense. Um, so yes, culture is absolutely critical, and as long as I'm at LSS, it'll our mission is front and center, and we kind of look at our team as being like a big extended family. Like we care a lot about the um just the vibe, the vibe. Like everyone's got to like buy in to the vibe and be aligned with what we're doing and where we're heading.
I love that. Good
So do I.
vibes all
Yeah.
around. Yeah. Um, so Adam Moonside Man, he did the No Rune cosplay and the Ragamuffins hat cosplay. He said, "I've admired LSS's commitment to their mission statement, which is to bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games. It's part of what initially attracted me to the game, which I have to agree to him.
Mm.
And he says, has it ever been challenging to stick to that at any point, or have you felt like you strayed from that in one area or project at all?"
I can be honest. I don't think that we've ever strayed from it, and it's like a North Star, right? It's like
Mm.
it is our guiding light,
Mm,
and whenever anything comes into question of like, actually, should we go left or right here? It's like we can always turn to that mission statement to help us navigate the correct path forward. And it kind of dictates and defines every decision that we make.
yeah. I mean, we at like Pitch Perfect Melody and I feel that we have an amazing supportive community that's influenced by LSS's values of connection and inclusivity, which of course is reinforced by you being the head of it all. So I'm kind of curious, what aspects of your involvement with the community have inspired you the most? Like, or have there been any particular interactions, whether it's meeting people at events, direct feedback, witnessing people playing Flesh and Blood, anything like that? Like, what is kind of the driving force that you've experienced?
Yeah, so I feel very fortunate and blessed to have been able to travel around the world to our big marquee events, like the Pro Tours and the World Championships and a few of the callings and so on, and just seeing the beautiful, diverse range of people who are enjoying Flesh and Blood. And I say enjoying because it's not necessarily playing Flesh and Blood, but for one of the things I always loved about trading card games is they appeal to different people in different ways. If you want to be that Pro Tour World Championship competitive chasing, person, you can find that. If you want to play the game for social reasons, catch up with friends, family, on a Friday night over beers, wines, and pizza, just get around the table and have some fun. You can do that. If you want to be like Uber Collector, you can do that. If you just want to follow the story, the heroes, the characters, cosplay, all of that sort of stuff, with Flesh and Blood at least, you can do that. And for me, it's been so pleasing when I go to these big marquee events like the World Championship or Pro Tour, that typically we're getting between sort of around 1,500 to 2,000 fans come through the door for one of these weekends. Only 350 to 400 of those people are playing the main event. Like about a
Oh.
third, 30% of the people coming are for like the elite competitive
Mm.
offering. Everybody else is there for other reasons, whether it's to hang out, meet special guests, meet the artists, play side events, all of this other stuff. Like the fandom is real. And like for me, just seeing the diverse range of people who are coming to enjoy Flesh and Blood in all its different ways has just been so inspiring and pleasing. And it has driven us to make different decisions. Like to make sure that we're doing things to really acknowledge and recognize the different ways that people are enjoying
Mm.
the game in the world and all that good stuff.
It's like
Yeah,
cosplay,
I
the card,
mhm,
the
For
I'm
Taylor
real,
card.
we got some sweet cosplay rewards coming, which are going to be
Oh,
revealed at Baltimore.
oh,
One of the
Elaine.
things that has broken my heart, seriously, was these events that I've gone to, and we've given away the Taylor cards and the law books or whatever, and you get, I think we give away maybe two Taylors or something, three Taylors. Basically, I think these are like three or four prizes on offer, and you get like 20 cosplayers turn up, and most of them are just like so immaculate. They put so much effort and they look so good, and it's like we only have four things to give away. It's like we so stink. So this has been addressed. We will be revealing at Baltimore a massive uplift in recognition for our cosplayers.
That is awesome. We heard it here
Yeah.
first, everybody. Get
yeah,
excited.
I, I'm really excited about that. I mean, the cosplay competitions, I participate in them. I'm sure you both
Yep.
know,
Yep.
but
Yep.
um,
One of our first
and it's so
Icelanders, I
much fun.
remember.
Yes. It's so much fun. I love it. And it is like such a community aspect. There has been like events or days where I'm like, I just want to be in cosplay today. I'm not gonna play like the main event. Um, and I have just as much fun like walking around meeting people in cosplay and stuff. So I'm really excited to hear that. I think that's gonna be awesome. It'll be good for the community for
Exciting.
sure. All right, we cannot pass up the opportunity to discuss what is near and dear to our hearts here at Pitch Perfect, which is diversity and inclusivity. So I'm kind of curious, what are there any specific steps that LSS takes towards inclusivity? Is that a priority to you guys?
Yeah, it's absolutely a priority, and look, it just comes back to our mission statement, right? To bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games, and people come in all different shapes, sizes, ethnicities, nationalities, genders, religious beliefs, like people are diverse, and that's beautiful. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as you're coming with good intentions and a good heart and respectfulness towards other people, then there's a seat at the table for you, right? And I think like for us, it comes back to if you look at our big events, right, as I touched on before, just seeing the massively diverse range of fans who are coming to the events, it's just been so incredibly pleasing for myself. And obviously, we're doing something right to make people feel welcome to come, no
Mm.
matter who you are or what your background is. And I think that's reflective in the fabric, the makeup of these events that I've personally witnessed in different parts of the world. And you can also see it reflected on things like judge and staffing team at the big events. We have fantastic female representation. We have all genders represented on the staffing team. We have all different nationalities, including from countries that don't even have flesh and blood officially. Like one person that comes to mind is Luna from Brazil. I know we're in Brazil officially now, but for like a number of events before we were even in Brazil, like Luna was coming along as part of our core event team, and like I don't even know how it happened, but she was there and she was awesome and she was like so vibrant, and I was like, we're not even in Brazil. Like, how did that even happen? But I think that just like speaks to the fact that our teams are out there making sure that we are creating opportunities for people from
Mm,
all different backgrounds and walks of life to be part of this movement. And like you can even see it from the way that we craft our heroes as well. And like sure, there's more work to be done, and there's more opportunities for us to even increase the representation and diversity of our hero roster. But you can look at the different heroes that are out there, and like we are mindful of trying to create heroes that other people can see themselves reflected in. And
mm,
from getting out to the events and talking to people, I know how deeply our fans care about the heroes and their personal connection to the heroes. It runs deep, and we want to make sure that there's heroes out there that people feel like they can connect with, and that they do feel has some reflect you know can reflect a little bit of them, whether it's their appearance or their background or something about their story that they create that connection to. And that's something that we're constantly working on.
So, do you guys, I'm just kind of out of curiosity, I know that, when I sign up for gym, I select my pronouns, say that I'm a female on there. Do you guys look at any of the like data and diversity in your player base, or not really? Just kind of curious.
Um, I'm not the data guy of at the company, so maybe it is happening elsewhere in the organization. Like, uh, I do wear many different hats, but there's some things that I'm just not like completely aware of, like the
That's
extent
cool.
of different stuff that's going on. But I mean, what I can say is just anecdotally, when I go to the events personally myself and I look around the room, I'm seeing like great diversity in the makeup specifically when I compare it to other like TCG communities that I have been involved with in the past, like primarily Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh are the two that I had like a really big part of my life dedicated to in the past. So for me, I feel really proud that we've been able to like create a very welcoming a community an event environment for people to feel like they want to be part of. So I guess for me, it's just more of an anecdotal to look around the room and sort of like see with my eyeballs whether it's you know where the representation is.
Mm.
I mean, that's what we do too,
Yes,
and I think it is clear. I mean, we've had lore episodes, we've had judge episodes, and obviously we talk about diversity and representation a lot on this podcast, and it's like, and it's nothing but good things that we have to say. Even when we did the lore episode, we were talking about it, like the hero diversity, and we counted just for fun. There was like, at the time, I'm not sure now with new sets that have come out, but at the time there was an exact
even
even
split.
number, even split between the different genders of the heroes, which we were like, oh, that's kind of cool. And we talked about it on the Judge podcast too, how well represented the staff is at events. And it's funny that you bring up Luna, because I know exactly who you're talking about. And I never even made the connection that at the time when I met her for the first time, there was no flesh and blood in Brazil, which is just awesome to think about. I think the diversity is just something that kind of comes naturally with the game environment that you foster.
Mm.
But Melody, would you like to take us on to our next
Yeah,
subject?
yeah, yeah. So, oh, one last question. So we know you've got a huge background. You just talked about it. You know, you've had a huge background in Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering. Um, with that and with your current experience with Flesh and Blood, do you have any thoughts around how the community can support additional growth of diversity in our game?
I think that first of all, from ourselves as a studio, we just need to provide more well, essentially products that can cater to different ways of playing the game. Like, I think we do an exceptional job of creating opportunities to play competitively, right? Like, we have a very clear pathway from your in-store play, like ProQuest and Road to Nationals, to your national level calling and national championships up to the Pro Tour and Worlds. So it's like a very well-defined and well-supported pathway for competitive and elite play. The area that we are doing a lot of work and investment into is creating more opportunities for social play. So there's
Ah,
the fabled PVE
Mm.
coming in the future, and yeah,
oh yes.
we will get there. But even before that, there's like smaller things that we can do to better support and enable just like fun social play. And I think that that's actually quite a key part of expanding and building on the diversity as well, because different people like to play and engage with Flesh and Blood in different ways. So
Different ways.
if there's a hole in one of those major ways of actually playing the game, i.e., socially, then we're not really doing the best that we can for that segment of our fan base or potential fan base. So as a studio, that's what we're really working on. For the wider community, I would just simply say, have a kind, warm, welcoming heart.
Mm,
Just be respectful to other people, and that people are different. And something I always loved about TCGs is I feel like that, well, gaming in general, not just TCGs, but gaming in general, it's the great equalizer, right? Like you sit down at the table and your differences in your background and everything else is just kind of irrelevant. It's like you're just engaged, like, one on one, or whether it's group play, and playing this game that's in front of you. And like growing up, like I come from very humble beginnings, right? And for me, I personally really enjoyed the fact that I could sit down and like challenge. a grown man, like this is back when I was a teenager, like a grown man who's like highly educated, like successful, right? You know, like a banker or a lawyer or whatever, and I'm like just this punk ass kid, and like, I can take him down, you know. And
I
it
can
didn't
take
matter
him
about where I
down.
come from, you know, small town New Zealand. Like I grew up in Napier, like you'll know Melody, but
Mm,
it's just that great equalizer, and even more so than sports, to be honest, because even sports can also be
mm.
looked at as like the great equalizer, right? But sports still discriminates based on physical attributes, right? Whereas gaming doesn't even care about the physical attributes. Um, so I think, yeah, just coming back to your question, just if the community it just has a warm heart and is welcoming to different people, however they come, and all their different quirks and shapes and sizes and backgrounds. It's like just if you're here to play the game, enjoy each other's company, and that's pretty well much it.
I think that's great advice. I hope everybody, no, not I hope everybody heard that. I think a lot of people are already like that in our community. We've had, I think, 4 new people join in the last 3 weeks at our LGS. I can name them all by name. There's a young buck called Seb with his dad Hayden. There's Jonathan, who one of the boys brought. There's Sam from Whakatane that came over. I made myself known, and then everybody jumped in, and we wrapped ourselves around them, and that's just how we roll. And I think that's a testament
Yeah,
to the values of LSS as well that we've talked a little bit
yeah.
Yeah.
about.
Just enjoy it.
Have fun and include people. So we're going to move on to Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
So yeah, so he's like, okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. So we've had a lot of hype. We've had Outsiders, very exciting. We've had the pre-release, and we've had the release. Amongst all the excitement, there has been chatter about Dusk Till Dawn. So, James, serious question. Can you give us any hints about the set?
So what I will say is it's our 10th booster set, right? So that's a big milestone for us, and we have put
Mm.
together something very special. I
Oh,
personally think it's our most exciting set yet, and I think the collectors out there are going to absolutely
oh my
just fly
gosh.
with this one. It brings some really just pretty high impact play, new strategies to the gaming table as well. So
Oh,
I think like it is a big deal. It's a big ticket set. Um, we are going to be doing first look at Pro Tour Baltimore during the players' reception. So I don't want to spoil anything before that, but tune in. I think our team is looking to try and live stream at this time. If not, it's going to be recorded and
oh,
posted onto socials or YouTube. But just it's only I think what is it, 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away from Pro Tour. So
Yeah.
hang tight till then.
oh. Okay, Elaine. I don't know how much
Okay.
more he can share with
I
us.
say I don't know if what else you're willing to share, if anything, about it. So I don't want to push too much. Um,
Yeah.
is
Nothing else.
yeah.
This is like tight
We'll
lipped.
leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. Okay. So we're gonna dive into some PVE because I'm excited about PVE, and maybe you'll be willing to share a little bit more. So although there is a lot of overlap between people who play PvE games and those who enjoy TCGs, I feel that each format still has its loyal supporters. For example, like my brothers, they're big PvE people. But they love, like, they're very interested in Flesh and Blood and always asking me to send them updates. And I've convinced them to play a few games with me. They love the lore behind it, but I still can't get them to like get into it the same way I am because frankly, TCGs just aren't for everyone. So I want to dig into a little bit about like what exactly made you want to create a PvE format for this game. Flesh and Blood is a successful TCG, so why the PvE format?
So first of all, it just like it fits the intrinsic DNA of what our game is. It's like Flesh and Blood is the most like RPG-ish like trading card game that's ever existed. I think you literally before you even play your first card, you've like equipped your hero to prepare to fight. You know, choose your weapon, choose your armor set. Like that's
Mm.
just really cool, and like really just calls to the core of what RPGs are. So we wanted to really like build on that with what PVE is, like campaign modes and and so on. one of the really key things, again, it comes back to better servicing the diverse range
Mm.
of people who, like the diverse range of wants and needs from a game, right? Like social play is just a really important, significant thing to do well. And I think that PvE, the way that we're going to deliver it um, is doing something in this space that isn't very common, or maybe hasn't even existed for a trading card game before, which is like, if you look at other social variants that are out there, like Commander or like UPF, where it's multiplayer and it's like really fun and like everyone's around the table and smashing each other and all of that. It's really fun, but ultimately there's still a winner and a whole bunch of losers, right? And my
Yes.
Hmm.
objective is to kill both of you and everybody else at the table. So it's still combative, but PvE is different, where it's like you have a common objective. It's you
Mm.
and your party with a common objective to overcome. So it's not combative in that same way. It's still social, and it's a group in that it's a group. But like you're motivated for your buddy, your partner, your party to not die. I don't want you to die, Melody. I want you
I'm
to
not going to
live.
kill you.
Exactly, like, I need you to survive this, like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to stop you from dying. So it's a very different dynamic, and I think that's
Mm.
gonna be really significant, and I hope that fans enjoy it.
Oh, I,
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. One of my favorite things about Flesh and Blood is that every class plays on paper how you would expect it to play, right? Like playing from Arsenal and these big hits for Guardian and stuff. Like it plays how you would imagine that class to play. So I'm excited to see that translate to a PvE format because I
Yeah.
honestly think it will really well. What is your biggest like hope for PvE? Big aspiration? Just that everyone loves it, or does it go
No,
beyond
I
that?
just think that, like, I hope that it creates, um I mean, to be honest, like quite an innovative product experience for the trading card game
mm.
industry. To be frank, I mean that's a pretty lofty ambition, but I think that it can, and I think that that's what we're striving for. But look, I just need to be upfront. Like PB is still a way away. It's not coming this year. I don't. I see on the internet people saying that I said it was coming in 2020. Maybe I did. I don't remember saying that. And it's not coming in 2023. I can tell you. But it is coming.
Thank you for clarifying, James, because I think, yeah, there
Yes.
are definitely people out there going, yeah, it's coming. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's
But I
going to
can
take a
tell you
lot
that we
of
do have some
design.
social play products coming this year, and they're really, really kick ass. So it's not PvE, but it's like
Yeah.
it's damn good. Um, Details to come soon.
Oh my
It's damn good.
gosh,
You heard it here first.
so excited. You know what? I'm even thinking about this is totally not in our questions. Do you know what LARPing is, you guys? Live
No.
action role
Oh,
Do
play?
I?
LARPing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I
Of course.
LARPing.
I
I
LARPed
Yeah,
in high school.
did
Yeah,
you?
every
I
Sunday
say
at the
LARP
park. Yeah.
for
yeah,
Flesh
for
and
real.
Blood. I've only just thought about it. How incredible
Mm.
would that be? Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's a side thought. Sorry. So I'm going to ask a question. This comes from Fab Chile 1705 from Twitter. So they ask, do you think that PvE should be something that happens in the LGS or more of a kitchen table thing? You've kind of touched on it, so it's probably going to be
Yeah,
a bit of
both.
both, right? Yeah.
It'll be both, absolutely, 100%. I
Okay.
expect it to be more played at home, but there will definitely be LGS, programs around it for sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. Wow. God, we've done so well for time. We've got two final questions to wrap up our main
Okay.
corridor. We've got a couple of listener questions. The first comes from Paul Analog Nerd. He's actually from New Zealand. So he's asked, there are little things in the design of Fab that hint at New Zealand, like the life
Mhm.
symbol being a koru, coronet peak. Are there
Absolutely.
any other subtle references to Aotearoa in the game that might not be obvious? And can we look forward to any Aotearoa inspired art in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, Melody, you know what we're working on. We got something very special coming for later this year, and thank you very much for helping us with that project. But other than the life symbol's the main one, and that was like very deliberate that we used the koru on the life symbol. Um, but yeah, other than Corona Pica, there's actually not no other ones that come to mind. There might be, like we've made so many cards now, but it's Aotearoa is near and dear to our heart. Like,
Mm.
okay, one thing is we have the big banners, similar to the ones behind me, that have kind of like a segment of the world map, and New Zealand is hidden down in the bottom right
Yes.
hand corner, and that banner's in like 2,000 stores around the world. So, we're out there repping.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Thank you.
All
Elaine.
right. Last question, and I apologize in advance, but I really have to know, James. Do you like pickles?
I love
Gherkins.
pickles, pickled onions, gherkins, for real. Yeah, jalapeno pickle, damn straight. Chutney, ketchup.
Oh,
It's all good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
there you
so
go,
delighted by
Elaine.
that. Oh, I'm so delighted.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
right. We have time for a few listener questions.
How are you going for time, James?
I got about 3 minutes,
Okay,
and
let's
that's because
go.
my
Quick.
battery's about to run out. I'm sorry.
All right.
Quick fire, quick
No, no,
fire.
all good. Quick fire. You start, Elaine. Go.
All right. Is there any chance for the deck size limit in CC to increase to accommodate growing complexity of
No,
heroes for
no
the
chance.
future?
Oh,
That's from. Okay.
No.
okay.
Work within
Awesome.
your constraints, people.
Okay, Dead Summer Art asks, Kale, will there come a time where the development of new characters will slow down significantly and we'll instead see more versions of existing characters as new hero cards?
Yeah, we signaled this at Fab 2.0 article back in last April or May, and you can already see it, right? Like we have
Yes.
just returned Azalea, Benji, and Katsu, to build on their story and give them new cards, to support their strategies. And I mean, you saw it with Bravo, star of the show, building
Yes.
into depth into that character. So yeah, Iceland is another one. So yeah, 100%
Mm,
you will see legacy characters, particularly ones that are loved, return to the game in different ways. Whether it's new
mm,
versions of the hero cards or just expanding their card pool, but for sure there will be depth built into storytelling for our key characters.
love it. Go.
All right. Crivenori, I don't know how to say it. With Outsiders being a melee only set, will there ever be an arcane only set?
Absolutely, already working on it.
Oh, oh my
Woo!
gosh. Okay, love it.
Yeah,
The
seriously, yeah.
Okay, cool. The armpit asks, are you done? Is LSS done with mentor cards?
No, from time to time you will see mentors come back for sure. I like mentors.
Yeah, I like mentors too.
I like them too.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Georgia asks, is Wizard the hardest class to balance?
Uh, Anything which is like breaking from the core tenets of like melee combat is hard to balance. Probably the heroes or classes that revolve around stay and play permanence are the hardest. Like Dromai
Mm,
with her
Never
dragons,
mind.
or things that stay in play, because it breaks from the constraints of like the transient nature of an attack costs one action point, some resources, that does its thing and it goes, whereas like a dragon, for example, yes, it costs an action point and some resources, but then it stays in play to have a persistent effect on the game. So that's probably the hardest to balance, but yes, wizard is
Mm,
also very challenging.
thank
all right,
you.
Melody, wrap us
All
up.
right, so we like to ask all of our guests one last question, and we ask everybody, are there any topics or content that you would like to see on our podcast in the future?
Yeah, just things that make new players feel welcome to the game, because we've got to remember that like everybody has a first game of Fish and Blood, right? And it's like when you are like yourself, you've been playing for probably a couple of years now, and everything like makes sense and you get it. But for that person watching your podcast or listening to your podcast for the very first time, everything's new, and we need to never lose sight of it's like one of your viewers might be touching the Flesh and Blood content sphere for the first time. So just it doesn't mean like making all of the content like new player friendly, but from time to time putting things out there, even if you're veteran content creators, that is appealing and supporting that new player join our community and feel included, and like giving them an on ramp. And yes, as a studio, we definitely do that and want to do it more. But if our content creators and all of the beautiful people in the ecosystem can also do that from time to time, just make a new player feel that they can take that step.
Oh no, we
I
ran
think his computer
out
died.
of. I think that's.
Well, thank you, thank you so much, James, for
Yeah, thanks
joining
for
us
joining. That
today.
was perfect though. We wrapped up.
We wrapped up.
We
We
did.
did it. The last thing was giving him the opportunity to plug himself, but I think everyone listening knows where to find James White. If you don't, you can find him on Twitter under James White.
And you
We
can
can put it in the description.
yes,
Pro Tour Baltimore is coming up, and there's a lot of exciting things, as you know, and that James talked about coming up for Flesh and Blood in general. So yeah, be on the lookout. Like he said, first look at Dusk Till Dawn at Pro Tour. New cosplay stuff coming. So I'm
this
gonna plug a few great things Ellis
oh
is
my
doing
goodness.
for him. All right. Well, that was awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, James, for coming on.
Yes, thank you, Hemima.
All right. Until next time.
Cockatoo.
Bye.